If you're carrying any kind of debt, credit cards, student loans, a car payment, then you know the feeling. It's not just about the numbers on a screen, is it? It's this weight you carry around. And every single day, interest is just quietly working against you, making it that much harder to get ahead. But here's the good news. Getting out of debt isn't magic. It's just a strategy. So today, we're going to break down the two most powerful strategies out there to get you to zero: the Debt Snowball and the Debt Avalanche.
And really, it all comes down to this one big question. But what does fastest actually mean? Is it the path that saves you the most money in interest, the one that's mathematically perfect? Or is it the path that actually keeps you motivated, the one you'll stick with all the way to the finish line? See, your logical brain and your emotional brain might have two totally different answers here. By the end of this, you'll have a crystal clear picture of both, and you'll know exactly which path is right for you.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the debt dilemma, why so many people get stuck in the first place. Then we'll do a deep dive into the snowball and the avalanche methods, step by step. We'll put them head-to-head in a classic math versus motivation showdown. And finally, we'll lay out a simple action plan you can use to get started the second this is over.
Okay, so you get a little extra money, and what's the first instinct? Sprinkle it across all your debts, right? A little extra on the car, a little on the credit card. It feels so responsible. But honestly, it's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. It's like trying to put out a forest fire with a tiny spray bottle. Your efforts are so spread out that you never really see progress on any one debt. And that's when you start to feel like you're just spinning your wheels. To win this game, you have to focus your firepower. You need a strategy.
And let's be super clear about what's at stake here. High-interest debt is like you're running on a treadmill that's tilted uphill against you, and someone keeps cranking up the speed. Every single day, that interest is literally eating away at your ability to save, to invest, and to build the future you want. So we don't need a plan that just manages the problem. We need a plan that aggressively attacks it.
All right, let's meet our first contender, the Debt Snowball. If getting out of debt is a game, the snowball method is the strategy built entirely around the psychology of winning. It's all about creating small, quick victories that build into this unstoppable momentum.
The idea here is just brilliantly simple. You basically ignore the math of interest rates for a minute and focus completely on the size of the balance. Why? Because our brains are wired to love progress. When you target your smallest debt first, you're engineering a quick win. It's that first domino to fall. It's that first taste of victory that gives you the fuel to stay in the fight for the long haul.
So how does this actually play out? First, you list out every single debt you have, not by interest rate, but from the smallest dollar amount to the largest. Then you go into attack mode. You pay only the bare minimum on everything except that one smallest debt. You throw every single extra dollar you can find at that little guy. Once it's gone, and this is the magic part, you take all the money you were paying on it, both the minimum and all that extra cash, and you roll it over to the next smallest debt. Your payment just gets bigger and bigger, creating that awesome snowball effect.
And this is the central trade-off, isn't it? The pro is massive. You get a quick, powerful psychological boost. I mean, paying off a debt, any debt, feels incredible. It proves to you that you can do this, and it gives you the motivation to keep going. The con, though, is purely mathematical. By ignoring interest rates, you might be letting a debt with a higher interest rate sit there and grow for a little longer, which could mean you pay more in total interest over time.
Okay, let's shift gears to strategy number 2. This is the debt avalanche. If the snowball is all about psychology, the avalanche is for the number crunchers, the spreadsheet lovers. This method doesn't care about your feelings. It's about cold, hard, efficient math. It is the most logical way to get from point A to point B.
The philosophy here is to treat your debt like a financial emergency. And in an emergency, what do? You tackle the biggest threat first. By targeting the account with the highest interest rate, you are stopping the most expensive part of your debt, the financial bleeding, as fast as possible. This mathematically guarantees you will save the most money and pay off your total debt in the shortest amount of time. Period. Now, the steps are going to look super familiar, but the priority is completely flipped on its head. You list your debts, but this time you order them from the highest interest rate all the way down to the lowest. You pay minimums on everything but that number one enemy, and you throw all your extra cash at that high-interest beast until it is gone. Once it's defeated, you take its entire payment, roll it over to the next highest interest rate debt, and just keep going down the list.
So the pro here is just undeniable. On paper, this is the superior method. You will save the most money you possibly can, and you will become debt-free on the absolute fastest timeline. But the con, man, the con is very real and it's very human. If your highest interest debt is also a big one, it could take you months, maybe even years to pay it off. And that long, slow grind without getting a win can be so draining. It's often the very reason people get discouraged and just give up.
Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. We've talked about the theories, we get the philosophies behind each method. Now, let's make it real. Let's see exactly how these two strategies would handle the exact same set of debts. Now, what's so fascinating here is how clearly you can see the conflict. With the snowball method, your brain lights up. You look at debt A, that $1,000 balance. You can feel it. You could probably wipe that out in just a few months and get that huge win. But the avalanche method just screams, whoa, hold on a second. Look at debt B. That 25% interest rate isn't a leak, it's a geyser, just draining your money every single month. Avalanche says you got to ignore the quick win and go put out the biggest financial fire first, which could save you hundreds, maybe thousands in interest.
So, at the end of the day, it really comes down to a moment of just being honest with yourself. It's about knowing what makes you tick. Are you the kind of person who's driven by pure logic and efficiency? Someone who can stay laser-focused on a long-term goal without needing a pat on the back? Or do you thrive on those small victories, that positive feedback, to stay energized and in the game? There is no wrong answer here.
And this right here, this is probably the most important takeaway from this entire explainer. It really doesn't matter if one method could save you an extra $500 if you quit halfway through. The perfect plan that you abandon is worthless compared to the good plan that you see through to the very end. You got to remember, personal finance is always more personal than it is finance. Consistency is the real magic ingredient, not some perfect spreadsheet. Okay, so I don't want to just leave you with a bunch of theory. Knowledge is only powerful when you actually put it into action. So let's turn this all into a clear, simple plan. Here are 4 steps you can take right now to start your journey out of debt for good. So where does this extra cash come from? Well, the key to speeding up your debt payoff is finding more ammo. And I promise you, that money is often hiding in plain sight. It's time to go on a treasure hunt through your own bank statements. Are there any streaming services you forgot you were paying for? Could you swap 2 nights of takeout for a home-cooked meal and instantly free up 50, maybe $100? Is your cell phone plan total overkill? Every single dollar you liberate is another soldier in your debt-fighting army.
Okay, here is the full battle plan. 1. Get organized. Don't guess. Put every debt, every balance, every interest rate on one piece of paper. You have to see the whole enemy to defeat it. 2. Choose your path. Based on what you now know about yourself, reorder that list, smallest to largest for Snowball or highest to lowest interest for Avalanche. 3. Go free up that cash we just talked about. And 4, and this is absolutely crucial, automate everything. Set up automatic transfers for all your minimum payments and for that big extra payment. Automation takes willpower out of the equation and makes your success almost inevitable.
Being debt-free is not some far-off dream. It's an actionable goal. You now have the 2 best roadmaps to get there. The choice, the power, it's in your hands now. If you found this explainer helpful, do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe, and maybe share it with someone who you think wants to improve their financial life. Now, look at that slide one last time. Your journey starts now. Which path will you choose?